it's a great time to be a music lover and a viewer of Mountain Lake PBS. Officials at Meadowmount School of Music in Westport, New York, say televising their summer concert series will help spread appreciation for fine music across the North Country and beyond. We're going to hear from three authorities on Meadowmount who can tell us how the upcoming changes will expand options for gifted musicians and music enthusiasts in the Mountain Lake region. We'll begin the conversation with concert violinist Janet Sung, a professor of violin at DePaul University and the artistic director of Meadowmount School of Music. Hello, Janet.
Hello, Paul. Nice to be here.
It's great to see you, Janet. There are still people in our region who don't know that Meadowmount School of Music is in Westport, New York, and that it attracts a special kind of student of stringed instruments. What is the age range of the string musicians, and how do they even qualify to study at Meadowmount?
Well, we have quite a wide range of ages that come to Meadowmount, as young as 11 up to even about 30. And all of these students come from all over the world, in fact, across the US and as far as Asia, Australia, Europe. And they come very specifically to come to Meadowmount for the environment of training that they can get there. Everyone must be accepted by an audition process at Meadowmount.
Well, I imagine that must be a very competitive audition process. I've had the pleasure of interviewing two alumni from your program. Violinist Joshua Bell and I had a long conversation a number of years ago, and violinist Soo-Vin Kim of Plattsburgh and I have spoken about a few different projects. Just to give our audience an idea of the caliber of musicians who study at Meadowmount, who else has benefited from your program?
Well, some of our other illustrious alumni include Itzhak Perlman, Yo-Yo Ma, James Ennis, Ani and Ida Kavafian, and countless other orchestral players and concertmasters and quartet players that still perform all over the world.
So some of the superstars of the world of classical music.
Absolutely.
And we're in good company with this interview because aren't you a Meadowmount alum as well?
I am. I was at Meadowmount starting my first year at age 11, in fact, and I'm a direct beneficiary of the special environment of Meadowmount and what it offers young musicians.
So with this current group of young, talented musicians, what happens every summer that benefits local community members in and around Westport?
Meadowmount in itself is obviously an environment for young musicians to come and really focus on their training and their craft and develop their own artistry. And we have at Meadowmount every week, it's a 7-week program, and every week we have at least 3 to 4 concerts on campus at Meadowmount. And in addition to that, we have about 30 concerts off campus throughout the summer in different areas and venues across the region. Almost everything is free and open to the public.
Oh, that is fantastic. And last summer, you had a much larger audience than you've had in previous years for these shows. How did that happen?
Well, we had a special opportunity starting last summer. We partnered with the Violin Channel, and so we were able to broadcast 6 of our concerts live on the Violin Channel.
The Violin Channel, that's a streaming platform for classical music.
Absolutely. And the Violin Channel has an audience of tens of thousands. So these young performers had the opportunity to perform for these special broadcasts, and it reached a much wider audience than we have ever experienced before.
And this year, we're entering into a whole new era for Meadowmount and the summer concert series because we at Mountain Lake PBS are very happy to broadcast much of the footage from these concerts for our audience. And I'm told that Meadowmount approached us for this opportunity, and to me it seems like a perfect idea.
Absolutely.
What kind of privilege is viewing these concerts going to be for our viewers?
Well, I think one of the big things is that there is such a considerable amount of talent that comes to Meadowmount every summer. And these are talented musicians in different parts of their own development. And so this allows the audience that comes to the concerts and hears these performers, hear some of them when they are on the cusp of their own burgeoning careers. If you could imagine somebody like Joshua Bell or Isal Perlman when they were performing already at an incredibly high level at age 15 or 16, that's what many of these audience members will be able to experience.
Yes, it's a chance to see musicians before they become household names, Janet. And speaking of musicians, cellist Luiz Fernando Venturelli joins us now. He's benefited from Meadowmount sessions for 8 years, and I'm really looking forward to hearing you perform in this series, Luiz. What's enjoyable for you about playing music with the other musicians at Meadowmount?
First of all, obviously the level of playing has always been extremely high, but more so than that, I think the environment of Meadowmount, the way, everyone becomes so close because we're in the middle of nowhere, just breathing music and always talking about music. So we get so close to these people, and it's just a very personal experience always making chamber music at Meadowmount. And it's just such a close community. It's always very enjoyable to make music there.
And Luiz, in this series, we see you playing in a quartet, the Galvin Cello Quartet, and it's a rather unusual group. What is special about playing in this quartet?
The fact that there are 4 cellists in a group together is extremely unusual, but we've found it to be quite liberating in some ways. I mean, first of all, because the 4 of us are cellists, we understand each other very deeply musically, and you can really feel that when we perform. But my personal favorite part about a cello quartet is you can have different people take the lead. Typically in a string quartet, you would almost always have the first violinist leading the group and not necessarily making the decisions, but during the performance, the first violinist leads the group many times because it's playing the main melody. In a cello quartet, we can actually swap around who plays each part. And because of that, what happens is, depending on who's playing cello 1 and taking the lead in the performance, we actually sound like a completely different group.
Now we're going to bring Ann Setzer into the conversation. She's a violin faculty member at the Juilliard School Pre-College Division, DePaul University, and Meadowmount School of Music. Ann, you've witnessed many of these concerts in person over the years. What's exciting for you about our broadcasting these performances on Mountain Lake PBS?
I think increasing the awareness in the community of the school. There are many people who have said over the years they would love to attend our concerts, but the distance is a little too far for them to drive, especially late in the evening. But the energy, the use, the enthusiasm, I think it's contagious. Watching some of these rising stars perform. It's exciting.
And it's exciting for us to be able to broadcast some of these concerts on Mountain Lake PBS. How are the broadcasts themselves going to actually benefit the musicians, in your opinion?
Reaching a broader audience is always important for a musician. We work so hard to develop our communication through music, and I think the broader the audience, I think the more rewarding that experience is for everyone, for all performers.
Well, Ann, you've been with Meadowmount for 4 decades, and you've seen many of our most talented classical musicians study there. What is the benefit to them to study in Westport for 7 weeks in the summer?
definitely the isolation, the ability to sort of get away from home and learn to concentrate, really focus on their improvement as a musician. It's a beautiful area. The students often come from urban areas, and I think many students really love coming to such a beautiful place. It just improves their concentration.
That sounds fantastic. And Janet, you're an accomplished musician yourself. How proud are you to be part of Meadowmount School of Music and to help showcase the extreme skill these students have through this series on Mountain Lake PBS?
Well, to be the artistic director of Meadowmount is a great honor for me and a great privilege. And I know firsthand the kind of experience one can have as a young musician at Meadowmount. My first steps on the campus of Meadowmount were really transformative. I already could feel the difference that environment could provide in what it would do for my musical career in the future. And to be able to have some hand in developing and also providing an opportunity for these young musicians is something that I really cherish. And I look forward to many years of that.
Part of the lore at Meadowmount is if you can perform at the school, if you can perform at Meadowmount, you can perform anywhere. Students know that the audience is discerning and well-educated, so they really can't get away with anything.
Well, I'd like to thank all three of you, Ann, Janet, and Luiz, for offering your insight and for sharing this beautiful music series with us this year.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Enjoy 6 episodes of the Music from Meadowmount series, Monday nights at 9 starting April 17th. You may also view the programs on our website, mountainlake.org, and through the PBS app on all your streaming devices.
Spotlight is supported by the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation, dedicated to improving the quality of life for year-round residents of the Adirondack Park.